I'll be damned, but NASCAR did it. NASCAR today announced the aero package changes for the short tracks and road courses for the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series season. As we know, 2019 used the 8-inch spoiler everywhere, the high downforce everywhere, and at some racetracks it did not work at all. In fact, it was the complete opposite effect of what should have happened. Granted, NASCAR did say that they wanted to go with two different packages for 2019. Teams didn't want to do that, and most likely the different packages would have been lower downforce for these tracks. So NASCAR today announced a lower downforce package to be used at, I believe, 9 racetracks in this season, which would be like 13 or so races. And it has reduced the downforce drastically once again. Um, this is this has been a rotating mess of downforce and aero packages in the Gen 6 era since 2014. Um, 2014 had that 8-inch spoiler on the back. In 2015, they cut that down to 6 inches, but then also tried some different packages. In the middle of that season, 2 races had the 4-inch spoiler, 2 had a 9-inch spoiler. Then in 2016, they went to a 4-inch spoiler, and then 2017, 2018, they went with a 2 and 3/8 inch spoiler on the rear. The splitter changed in 2018 to include more downforce. Then in 2019, they went back to high downforce with an 8-inch spoiler. Well, now the changes for the short track and road courses in 2019 will look like this. The spoiler will go down from 8 inches down to 2.75 inches. So it will be slightly more slightly more downforce than what the 2018 package had, which I think is fine. It's still low downforce, and I still think there is a happy medium to where there's not a lot of downforce and there's not too little downforce. I believe that somewhere around 3 inches of a spoiler would be kind of a happy medium. The front splitter will go down from 2 inches to 1/4 inch, which is a huge difference. Only a 1/4 inch of a splitter there, and it'll have 2-inch wings, which is reduced from 10.5-inch wings. God, that downforce is being cut down drastically. They're also going to make some changes to the radiator pan, trying to reduce front end downforce. So they're trying to get rid of downforce ever on the race car, because that Gen 6 car is built for downforce. So obviously, the lower spoiler, will reduce rear downforce. The changes to the splitter and the radiator pan, hoping to reduce the front end downforce to make the cars less stable, more out of control, and put the racing more in the driver's hands. Another big change that could come from this is that the tires now. Goodyear can bring better tires that won't have to be so hard. So basically, with a high downforce package, the car is glued to the racetrack. And with the high downforce package and it being glued to the racetrack, the center corner speeds are going to be higher, which means there's going to be more load on a tire, which means Goodyear has to bring a harder tire so that the tires don't blow out all the time. Which means that the tire doesn't wear as much. There's not as much tire wear. The racing is kind of like the tires don't wear so that there aren't comers and goers. You don't really have to save your tires. You can just go, go, go. With a lower downforce package, it decreases speed middle of the corner, which allows Goodyear to bring a softer tire, which in turn produces more slipping and sliding later in a run and possibly some more comers and goers, which will be nice and fun. So the 9 tracks will be used for Bristol, Dover, Martinsville, New Hampshire, Phoenix, Richmond, Charlotte, Roval, Sonoma, and Watkins Glen. So those are the 9 races. Obviously, all 3 road courses and the 6 shortest ovals on the schedule. So once again, they used it at the right racetracks. Parker Kligerman said somewhere that at Watkins Glen, he stayed, like the last 25 laps, stayed 2/10 behind Ryan Newman, which is absurd at a road course of all places. And then we were talking about Aero Push at Martinsville, which is just not the place to be. And then on top of that, Phoenix is the finale this season, and the race last year at Phoenix sucked and was horrendous and horrible. So these changes should fix that. Both Richmond races, obviously last year, were pretty bad. That should change that. New Hampshire last year wasn't as great as 2018. That should change that. Martinsville should go back to its glory. Dover should be back to where it's just averaging, average races. And then Bristol wasn't really affected by the package, but hey, lower downforce at Bristol, it's not going to hurt it because 2018 was just as good as 2019 races. So overall, this is a very, very positive change, and I'm glad the teams allowed NASCAR to go with this. This is something that a lot of people have been pushing for ever since we saw how bad the package was at those tracks. So we finally got it. We got it back, and 2019 should have really good racing at those types of racetracks, at like the short tracks and the road courses and whatnot. It's not going to be any worse than what 2019 was. I can tell you that right now. 2019 was pretty bad at all those racetracks. But I also want to talk about what other tracks they possibly could have implemented it at, because there are some racetracks that weren't included, obviously, because they aren't road courses or short ovals, that I feel like would benefit from a lower downforce package. Darlington, for example, is a track that thrives under low downforce. I don't remember anyone getting a Darlington stripe this or last year in 2019. Which is absurd. It's Darlington. It's supposed to be hard to drive, and Bubba Wallace said it was easy. So I feel like that's a change they can make. I don't know. They're probably not looking into that, but if there were some tracks that they could implement a lower downforce package at, that's not going to be implemented at in 2020. I would say there are 4 tracks that I could think of that would maybe benefit the most from a lower downforce package, which is, of course, Darlington, Pocono, Indianapolis, and Auto Club. In my opinion, Darlington deserves a low downforce package. It's kind of like Martinsville and such, where it's supposed to be hard to drive. You're supposed to be on the edge every single lap. Pocono has the corners there are so long, and you're staying on the gas through the tunnel turn that with such a big spoiler on the rear, it gives off such dirty air that you just can't follow the guy in front of you. You have to do that at Pocono because it's a single groove racetrack, which sucks. But obviously they liked what they saw with the PJ1, I guess. I didn't, but whatever. Auto Club is a track where it has high tire wear and it's very bumpy, so it doesn't really mesh well with a high downforce package. In my opinion, a low downforce package, something like 2016, because the 2016 race there is pretty incredible, would work pretty well. And then also Indianapolis, even though Indy, kind of like Pocono, isn't a great racetrack, it still would, the low downforce package wouldn't hurt it any more than the 2019 package did, because as we saw in 2019, it was just single file. You couldn't make passes because of the corners and whatnot. So, but as I said before, beggars can't be choosers. We got it at 9 racetracks, and it's the 9 racetracks that's going to affect the most and make the racing the best at the most. So, welcome back, Low Downforce. I hope you're here to stay for the future. I'm hoping that, the changes to the new gen car will help lower downforce stay for most of the racetracks, if not all the racetracks. Because honestly, low downforce, the way to go in my opinion. Get those small ass spoilers on there, and let's go racing. Let's go slipping and sliding. So the first track we'll see this used at will be Phoenix on the West Coast swing. So we'll see how it works there. We'll see if it improves the Phoenix racing at all, and then we'll go from there. So good news to come out of NASCAR today. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys for the next video.